Welcome back, everyone. Thanks again for joining us this afternoon. This is our last class of the day for January 24th, 2024. I will get that right by the end of the day today. Thanks for joining us. We're going to be talking about Facebook business pages this afternoon. Just wanted to make sure we're going to go over all the little basics, things that you can make sure that you have updated, going through just some of the motions of being able to be sure that you're able to post and share on your Facebook business page. It's been quite a hot topic again this year, just making sure that we're enhancing as many forms of communication as we can, but also making sure that all of our information is correct, especially because we still have some things that needed to be changed after the merger. And of course, we are getting ready to update our 2024 copyright statements and business disclosures from BHHS. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll go ahead and get started today. There we go. Uta, I see you have your hand raised. Did you have a question? Okay, so the question became, should we pull up Agent Central? We actually swapped out Agent Central for a Facebook business class today. We did have to reschedule the Agent Central class. So if you are here for the Agent Central class, we will be rescheduling that for a future date. Hopefully you'll stick around for that Facebook class today, but yes, we did have to reschedule that one. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started on that Facebook class here. All right, I have logged in today as Buy a House Real Estate Agent Extraordinaire. This happens to be our training account. This will allow us to make a bunch of different changes and edits and things like that without affecting a regular business page. We can certainly play with this one quite a bit. Just as a reminder, for those of you who are making edits to your Facebook business pages, it is a lot easier to do on desktop. Yes, you can make these changes on tablet and mobile. Not everything I'm going to show you today is actually going to be available on your mobile phone. So for those of you who might be making changes in the future, you're going to want to go ahead and make those on your desktop if you're able to. You'll have access to a lot more tools. Just want to put that out there initially. If you are trying to log into your Facebook business page, you're going to want to make sure you go to that upper right-hand corner. You should be logged into your personal page first, and then you'll have to use that drop down to swap over to your business page. It should be underneath your personal page. I've already swapped into the Buy a House page. If I were to log into my own personal account here, I could switch back and forth. You're going to want to make sure that you're not just visiting your page, but you're actually logged in as the page in order to make these changes. Otherwise, the tools won't be available to you. If you're not sure if you're actually logged into that page, you should be able to see all of your managed page items over here on the left-hand side. If they're grayed out for whatever reason, you may be just visiting the page. You may not be actually logged in as that page. So again, you're going to want to go ahead and go to that upper right-hand corner, go to that drop down, and make sure that you're selecting your actual Facebook business page from that drop down. If you have not created a Facebook business page before, you can certainly do that by going to facebook.com/pages, and it's actually going to take you step by step on how to create a Facebook business page, and then you'll go ahead and pick it up from there. Let's start out with a couple of things that are probably the most important, and that's just making sure that all of our different settings and our About section and things like that are correct. One of the top questions we've received lately is, how do I change this name right here? A lot of us already had maybe a company name in here. We haven't updated something since the merger, since we changed companies. Maybe we just want to give this a refreshed look, and we're not sure how to change that. You would think that it would be under this edit section or the About section, but they've actually hidden this away. If you go back up to that same spot we were just looking at up here in that upper right-hand corner, that's that account section. you're going to see something called settings and privacy. This is going to have a lot of your different settings that you're going to want to take a look at, but this is where you're going to be able to edit those, that name, and also edit the URL. So notice mine says facebook.com/ and it's buy a house training account. Hopefully this right here matches a lot of your other account names that you have. If you've ever taken my Google Business Pages class, you'll know that one of the things that we talk about quite a bit is making sure that your account names match across the board. It certainly makes it much easier for Google to be able to tie your accounts together when you're doing your Google Business Page. So you may want to go ahead and change that or edit that at the same time as well. If we go under the settings and privacy section right here, you'll notice it's going to give us a couple of things in our dropdown. It's going to give us our settings, which is where we're going to head. It's going to give us the privacy center. We'll be able to reach that from our settings as well. It's going to give us our activity log. That activity log is just going to let us know what we've done on our page. So if you ever needed to go back and find a post or something like that, it's going to be under that activity log. It's also going to show you what you may have posted. And then, of course, you have your news feed. Believe it or not, a business page has a news feed just like your personal page does as well. A lot of people don't use it, but as you start to join other groups or you start commenting on other pages, you'll certainly want to pay a little bit more attention to the news feed. It's a little bit more of an advanced option. We're not going to cover the activity log and the feed today. We're going to really focus on these settings in the About section. I'm going to go ahead and click Settings. And the first place it's going to take us is this general page settings right here. Notice that we have two edit buttons. Anytime you see a little pencil mark or the word edit, that means you're going to be able to edit whatever you need to on Facebook. So for example, if we wanted to edit our name, it's going to let us change our name, but don't forget, it's going to give us these little warnings whenever we start to change stuff like this. This one says that we can't change our name on Facebook again for another 60 days once we've made this change. So if I want to put maybe my middle initial here, I'm going to put buy an N for new house, buy a new house, a real estate agent extraordinaire. I can go ahead and review that change. It's going to ask me, do I really want to make this change to this new page name? And then it's going to make me put in my password and request that change. Now, most of the time when we do these name changes, that request change doesn't take very long at all. Sometimes we'll see it instantaneously. We'll see that approval come through. Other times, if you have a lot of followers, or you're making an absolutely huge change to your name, in this case, I just added one word, it's probably going to go right through. But if I'm changing my company name, or maybe I'm changing it to Mary Agent Realtor, and I'm taking off my company name, or I'm making it something more generic, it may take a little bit longer. So this is actually letting us know that it could take up to 3 days and require additional information. What it's not going to want to see is you make a huge change that is fundamentally different. The reason they do this is because they're trying to discourage people from creating these fake accounts where they might have a lot of followers on there because they've been following something like, a business page for one thing, and then that page was maybe owned by somebody who was unscrupulous, or it's been purchased and somebody is changing that name. And of course, all of these followers are then going to, be following this page for a business that's completely different. They're really just looking to make sure that this is the same person or the same business entity. So if you're changing your name, let's just take the merger, for example. If you're changing your name from Mary Agent, Rosenwomble Real Estate Agent or something like that, and you're changing it to Mary Agent, Realtor, something nice and generic, that's going to sail right on through. It's obviously the same person. It's the same name change. If you're going to change it from Mary Agent Realtor and you decide to put homes for sale in Hampton Roads, that's going to cause that warning to go up because it's not necessarily the same person. You're not keeping the same information. It looks like it might be a business entity change. And obviously, either it could get rejected or it's going to go through a long process. Part of that requiring additional information will be, is Facebook going to say, hey, do you have the business entity Hampton Roads Homes for Sale or Homes for Sale on Hampton Roads? Are you actually changing your business name to this? So you're going to want to keep this to basically your name and realtor or your name and real estate agent. Or if you're making a change to maybe your company name or something like that, just make it nice and easy right across the board. Just add that RW if you need to, or change that Rosenwomble to, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, RW Town Realty. You are going to have to put in your password if you are not sure what your password is, and a lot of people don't. If you click on this, it may actually give you your saved password. Before you start making these changes, if you're not sure what your password is, you may have to go ahead and reset it, because a lot of these changes are just going to require you put in your password. It's just a security setting just to make sure you are who you say you are and that you do have the authorization to make the changes to this page. Same thing with the username here. Notice that my username, again, it's just going to give me that example. And if I hit edit on this, I do have an unsaved change. It's just going to ask me to go ahead and change this information. It's also going to let you know if that username is available. If you have a really common name and you're just trying to add realtor or real estate agent to it, or if you're just trying to consolidate it, that username might be taken. You might have to play with that a little bit. Maybe you say something like Mary Agent Homes, Mary Agent Realtor, Mary Agent Real Estate Agent, whatever it happens to be. Even just Mary Agent is fine if you're not using it for your personal account for whatever reason. If you do make a change to the section, I'm just going to go ahead and pretend like I'm making a change here. Notice it's going to say my username is available, and I can hit changes. It's going to ask me again for that password, and that's going to be your password to your personal account. And it's just for security purposes, just wants to make sure that you're authorized to make that change. I have this linked a couple of different places, so I'm not going to make that change there, but it is fairly easy for the most part. If you're just making, again, minor changes, or you're just doing a little bit of cleanup work, once you put in that password, most likely it's going to sail right through, if not instantaneously, in a couple of days. Remember I said you could get to that privacy section again. If you go ahead and click that privacy section, you'll be able to just review your different settings that you have for your privacy. Now, this is going to be different from your personal page. Your business page, of course, is usually wide open. Most of these things are going to say public, and they're going to be on, and they're going to say yes. You're probably not going to want to limit this but so much, but you do have the option of taking a look at some of your privacy settings in here. You do have the option of actually who can post to your page and who can actually tag on your page. Now, who can post on your page? Most of these for business pages are going to, again, be set to everyone, because we certainly want to encourage the public to contact us and to be able to post on anything that we post on our pages. Who's going to be able to see your pages? Everyone. Who's going to be able to tag you? We're in a public service industry. We're going to want to make sure that that says everyone. Now, the interesting thing is usually that is by default. Nobody has changed that, but on occasion we'll log in and help somebody with their Facebook page and realize that they may have limited it sometime in the past, and they're wondering why they're not getting traffic to their Facebook business page, and it's because they've actually limited their audience. That may not have been intentional. These settings were in a completely different place in old Facebook versus the new Facebook. So you'll want to just go ahead and just double check to make sure that this is wide open on here. If you've had any issues in the past, this does come up on occasion where you've had a really unhappy client, or you've been put on blast or something like that. You may have also limited these. You may also have maybe one of these review sections checked as well. If you're comfortable, you can to open those again, you can certainly feel free to do that. There's that public post section as well. These again are just public facing, different types of settings. So most of these are going to be, yes, people can follow your page. Yes, you'll show up in news feeds. Yes, you give permission to Facebook to put your business page in a news feed if it pertains to somebody else. We certainly want this in a public facing service industry. Watch out for your blocking. Occasionally you'll find out that you have blocked somebody you did not intend to. It's always good to just double check your blocked users, blocked apps, and blocked pages on occasion, just to make sure you didn't accidentally hit the block section. If somebody makes a comment on your page and you push those little 3 dots next to that comment, sometimes we want to just hit reply, but occasionally we'll accidentally hit the block user. I've seen that happen with some sticky fingers before. Just double check your blocked users on occasion just to make sure you don't have anything. And while you're doing some Facebook page cleanup, it's a good thing to check. You'll be able to set your story sharing. You have some settings pertaining to Reels, who can actually see your Reels. Again, in a public facing service industry, we usually leave this to public. And we don't worry about the journalist resources or our reaction preferences at all. That's just how people respond to our posts, and we aren't journalists, so we're okay here. So these are our basic settings that we have available to us. I'm just going to go back to settings here real quick, and you'll notice I can either do that in one way. We have some breadcrumbs up here that I just clicked that allowed us to go back to settings. If you're not sure where you are, you can always go back up here to the top and go to settings and privacy. It'll take you right back to that same section. Most of you are going to be set on your new pages experience. One of the reasons I want to bring this up is because this allows you to see who can view and manage your page and who has page access. If you had a maybe a virtual assistant or somebody on your team a long time ago and they are not with you anymore, they may still have access to your Facebook business page. We ran into this last year where somebody was part of a team and that team member actually left the company and went to a different agency. The other team member is, of course, still here with us. And they made some changes to the page that didn't need to be made. And they did not realize that that other person still had access. So do go ahead and take a look at that new pages experience and take a look at your page access and make sure that those are the people you want to have access to your page. Now, in our case, this happens to be my training account. So of course, I just have members of our web support team on here who also use this for training purposes. I certainly want to leave them with access on here as well. You do have the ability to limit access. So for example, for our page here, all three of these people have wide open access, but if you only wanted to give limited access when you add somebody new, you can certainly do that as well. So they don't have the ability to delete your page without your permission, but do take a look and see who has Facebook page management access for you. You can also see who has page management history in here. Here's an interesting one. For page status, notice that this one says page has no issues. I wanted to show you this today, and if nothing else that you take away, I want you to know about this page status area. I am not going to ask for a show of hands because I know just about everybody in this room would raise their hand, but how many of you have received messages from Facebook or what looks like Facebook on your Facebook Messenger for your business page that says this page is going to be deleted because you posted something you weren't supposed to, or you had a trademark violation, or you had a copyright violation, or, you know, this page is owned by somebody else. I know that just about everybody in this room has had one of those messages come across. They are spam messages. They are scam messages. That Facebook page status is what is going to actually show you whether your page has issues or not. If you actually do have a trademark violation from Facebook, or you have posted a photo you weren't supposed to, or you violated some kind of community standard, it's going to show you on this page status right here. I also want you to know that this has an individual URL. So once you get here, if you want to bookmark this on your on your web browser, facebook.com/settings, and there's a question mark tab equals profile quality. If you're logged in as your business page, you can always go to this URL and you can see your page status. If I had received one of those messages that said I had a trademark violation in my messenger, by the way, Facebook will never contact you that way. They're always going to send you page notifications instead. I would be able to go here and go, that is definitely a scam. My page doesn't have any issues. If I have issues, it's going to tell you that you have issues. It's also going to tell you what they are. So maybe you did post a video, for example, and it was flagged for a community standards violation for whatever reason. Sometimes they get flagged accidentally. It's going to let you know that you have a video that actually had a violation on it. It's going to let you know that your account has been restricted. Notice this has no restrictions on it. It's going to let you know if your page isn't available to run ads. This page status, if you take nothing else away, will alleviate that fear when you get those messages in Messenger that they are definitely scams and spams. This page doesn't have any issues at all. Also, under that new page experiences, they're going to have page recommendations. So they're going to let us know whether we can actually grow our audience or not based on the page status that we have, but they're also going to let us know how we can do that under your page recommendations. We have some other options here. I'm not going to go into some of these just because they are more advanced options, but do know that we have some things about how we allow messaging, conversation routings. This comes in handy, especially if you have an assistant. Whether we're going to allow data sharing. We don't run issue electoral electoral or political ads in our industry, so we don't have to worry about those. And we don't do a lot of with branded content. Again, it's an advanced option, but they are there if you just want to take a look at some of those settings. Remember I mentioned those little breadcrumbs? There they are. So right here, it's very tiny, but I can go ahead and click on settings and go back. We can go under our notifications. If you're receiving too many notifications from your business page, you can set how those look in here. Or if you'd like to receive more, maybe you missed a message from someone who said, hey, I messaged you on your business page and you didn't get back to me. This is where you can actually set what your notifications look like. So in-app only means that they are only available from the notifications in-app. Sometimes you want those to also come in maybe on email or things like that. Some of these have the ability to have further notification settings. You're just going to want to go down each one and just make sure that this is where you want it to be set. And again, sometimes we log in and help someone and we find out that they've turned off all their notifications and they didn't realize it, maybe in an old system or a couple of years ago, or maybe again, they had a virtual assistant that turned it off and you want to turn those back on. There's that little breadcrumb setting again. I'm over here in notifications. I can just click settings. It'll take me right back. And then you'll also see the ability to have a linked account. Now, this is a training account, so I don't have my Instagram account linked to this. But if you do have a business profile on Instagram, it can't be a personal profile. It does have to be labeled for business. And it has to be the business type on Instagram. You can actually connect those. What that allows you to do is to be able to run ads out of Meta, which of course is what controls Facebook and Instagram business pages. It allows you to run ads together. It also allows you to receive your messaging in one place. So if you wanted to receive all of your Instagram messaging and notifications on your app for Facebook, you can certainly do that by connecting these. Now, do be very careful when you are connecting these that you actually want to use these together. We have had some instances where agents went ahead and connected the accounts together, but then got banned on Instagram for whatever reason, but not on Facebook. And we had a really, really hard time decoupling those. So just make sure that this is something you want to use, but also make sure that you're using the right account type. Make sure your Instagram account is business. If you are not sure if you are set up for an Instagram business account, do go ahead and send a quick message over to websupport@rwtown.com. We can send you instructions on that so that you can make sure that that's what you're using. Again, there's those little breadcrumb links. So I'm in linked accounts. I'm going to go ahead and click on settings and come back around. And I'm not going to go into videos or branded content. Again, those are two more advanced options of what we're going to talk about today, but do know that there are some settings for your videos and of course, branded content, if that's the direction you're going in there as well. Did anybody have any questions about kind of changing your name, username, some of these notification settings or settings and page status before I move on? Wanted to make sure, especially I covered those how to change your name in that page status section first and foremost. Anything? All right. Remember, if you have any questions, go ahead and raise your hand or pop it into chat. Haley is keeping an eye on the room for me, and she can always interrupt me if it's something that needs to be answered immediately. All right, let's go back to our actual account page here. So again, I was on my settings and privacy, and I'm going back to my actual account. Remember I said anytime that you saw the little pencils or anything that said edit, that would allow you to edit any of those sections. Did want to show you what's under that edit section right here, right on your main page. It's the kind of the biggest button that we have available for us here. If we click that edit, it's going to go ahead and bring up basically the main things that you can edit on your page. Nice and easy. If you want to edit your profile photo, you'll be able to go ahead and click edit. It's going to let you choose a profile photo from a couple of different sources. You can either upload your own photo. You can go with a suggested photo. These are photos that have been posted on my page. Other things I've uploaded in the past. Additional profile photos. Maybe we're swapping back and forth between a couple of different pictures, and also some profile photos that are available in here as well. So you do have lots and lots of different options. This is a fairly new option about creating an avatar profile picture. With those were available on personal pages and not professional pages for a long time. But for anybody who wants to use an avatar, that is an option now, but mostly we recommend that you go ahead and just upload your business photo that you use across the board on everything else, just to kind of keep your branding nice and consistent. Question that comes up fairly often with profile photos is about adding a frame. There we go. A while ago, Facebook changed how they add frames. Frames were allowed by businesses. They were allowed by different sources and clauses and things like that. They have now limited it to frames that are only selectable via Facebook, and you can't actually add your own anymore. So just so you know that when you do add a frame, it's usually by the cause of the month or the cause of the year by Facebook. It's not something that you can add additionally anymore. We used to be able to add, of course, corporate frames to this. Go. You can also update your cover photo. This is, of course, a training photo. You have the same options here to be able to update your cover photo by either uploading a photo or choosing from a previous cover photo. If you need a cover photo, there's lots and lots and lots of cover photos that are BHHS branded in the marketing resource on BHHS Resource Center. If you're looking for something custom, you can certainly request this through the marketing department. Just go ahead and put in an order using the marketing order form, and you can certainly request a cover photo that might match some of the other branding that marketing has done for you as well. You can also choose an avatar if you want to. And again, this is fairly new for professional pages. These have been available on personal pages, but not professional ones. You can certainly do that. And then, of course, you're going to go into some of the information that we really need to go ahead and add to this page. So the nice thing about this training page is we don't have a lot of information on here. We can go ahead and add our bio. We're going to customize any of our intros and information, and then we can go into edit our about info, which is going to give us a lot more here. So you can actually edit your bio and some of your other information here, but I'm actually going to go down to edit your about info, which is going to take us to the same section, but give us some of the other options as well. So what I've done by clicking that edit about info, it's actually taken me over to the about tab right here. We can get to it the same way. So if I happen to be on the main page, I could always just click the about tab and it's going to give me all of these different sections that we're going to want to edit. I did want you to notice something interesting about that tab though. We have more options than what you've had in the past. Notice that it's a little bit more like your personal Facebook business page or your personal page. So you now have things like family relationships and life events and things like that, which you previously only had on your personal page. So if you haven't had a chance to look at your about section on here in a while, do know that those are here. They are optional. You don't have to use them, but we've seen them used in a couple of really interesting ways, especially if you're a generational realtor or you have maybe a family member working with you. And also our life events are going to be able to do milestones and achievements. So it's coming up to award season. It'd be a great opportunity to kind of play with this a little bit on the professional side. So let's take a look at all these different about categories. We're going to want to make sure that we have most of this filled out. So we have lots of different options here. My main category is, of course, going to be real estate agent. You do have other options in here. If I pop in real estate, I'm going to just start typing the word real. If you have more than one function in real estate, you can certainly put this. You guys, however, are not a real estate company. You want to make sure that you're sticking with real estate agent. That makes sure that you get classified correctly and also that your posts get fed to the correct news feeds. However, if you do dabble in other things like development or commercial, even property management, rentals, there are other categories in here for you as well. For the most part, most of us just use real estate agents, and that's all we'll need on that section. Make sure that you have your contact information filled in. You want to go ahead and put your address, city, zip. You do actually have the opportunity to put neighborhood as well. So if your office happens to be in a neighborhood, a great example of this would be something like our Harborview office, which does have Harborview Boulevard, of course, but you are actually able to put the riverfront at Harborview as your neighborhood. You can also put that in there as well. Make sure that you have all of your address changes. For those of you who have been doing office changes lately, you'll want to make sure that you have your correct address in here. You'll also want to make sure that you've added your service areas. Now, these service areas are in priority order. So if you are an agent who works in something like Virginia Beach, for example, make sure that you're putting Virginia Beach in first, but then you can also put in something like Norfolk, Chesapeake, Virginia, things like that. I want you to notice, though, that you do have the opportunity to put some neighborhoods and regions in here as well. So keep an eye out for this. Here's one of the more interesting ones in here, though. Outer Banks doesn't work, which is interesting because Google allows us to use the Outer Banks service area. You would have to use something like Duck for that. If you wanted to go into some of the towns, you'll have to put them in individually. However, if you're in something like Sandbridge, Virginia Beach Works, and take a look at what else does. So you also have Sandbridge and Sandbridge Beach, Virginia. So if you're working in lots of different areas, do keep an eye out for the different neighborhoods that might be available in here, or some of your different regions and things like that. Try a couple of different things. I haven't tried all of our different regionals and kind of groups yet. Maybe something like, actually I haven't tried this one yet. Maybe Greenbrier. So Greenbrier, Virginia is in here twice, which tells me that they've got Greenbrier as the town, but maybe not as the area. But if I'm working in something like Newport News and I want to put in Denby, notice that Denby Plantation is in here, which is one of the neighborhoods in Denby in the Denby area of Newport News. So that's available for me as well. So you may have to experiment with these service areas a little bit. Certainly put in your major cities, but then go ahead and try the neighborhoods that you might work as a niche market, and maybe also some of the regional areas as well. Anytime you've made any changes to these sections, make sure you're hitting save. Go ahead and make sure that your email is in here. For those of you who have not updated your email yet, make sure that you have the correct email. It's going to allow you to put your phone number. You're going to be able to add your website in here. And by the way, you can add more than one website. So if you do want to add your website and then maybe a direct search to your home search, you can also do that as well. Add your social media links. And then we get down into some basic information as well. So we can add our diversity info. These are things like women owned or veteran owned. We're not going to add our Wi-Fi network name. Even though we work in individual offices, that Wi-Fi is not public. It's only for agent use. So we don't really have a Wi-Fi name. You can add your hours. I've mentioned this before in some of our Google classes. It actually is becoming more and more important to see hours built into some of the systems. So if you don't want to put in your hours, you can always leave this as no hours available. You can leave it as always open. And then you can also do selected hours as well if you need to. We don't really have a price range. Our services are really more tailored towards shopping and things like that. We don't really have that in our area of expertise. If you have any additional languages that you speak and you can speak those languages in the form of contracts, you can certainly add a language in here as well. And then you can go ahead if you really want to and put in genders and pronouns. They are available on here. I do want you to notice that those are a locked format by default. So if you don't want to put those, you do not have to. For our privacy and legal information, you can add a privacy link if you happen to have one. Under your impressum is where we can add our disclosures and disclaimers. This is where we're going to want to put our copyright. So copyright 2024, Berkshire Hathaway affiliates, equal housing opportunity. We're going to want to go ahead and make sure that we have that in our legal information. If you have not updated your disclosures and disclaimers for this year yet, I can give you a quick tip and hint. If you are a Site Builder subscriber, you can actually just go onto your website at the very, very bottom, and you can copy that whole section that has all of that information on it, and you can paste it right into here. It's all written out for you, nice and easy. It includes the equal housing opportunity all written out because we don't have an opportunity to put a logo right here. You can fill out your workplace and education. I highly recommend that you connect to the company page. When you add a workplace, you can actually choose the company page. You can choose the company page and you can choose your office page, but the company page is probably going to give you more reach if you connect to it versus your office page. On your education, if this helps you make more connections, you can certainly add it as well. Same with place lived. If you actually want to add the current city where you live or even work or your hometown or add any additional cities just to make connections, you can do that as well. Page transparency is just letting us know what settings we have, when it was created, any other admin information. There's that family and relationships again. If we're not going to use this, we don't have to. You don't have to fill it out. This does come in handy, though, if a member of your family is also part of your team. Here's that About You section. We're going to want to go ahead and write that nice bio. This is that elevator pitch bio that's about us. that can go in this section. It does help with people being able to find you. We certainly want to have this digital business card here as well. So this is great to be able to copy and paste directly from our bio page that's available on our website, or if you've written that kind of short five sentence elevator pitch and you want to pop that right in here in that about section, that's a great place to do it as well. This is not a bad place to reiterate our contact information either. You can add your name pronunciation if you have a name that might be difficult for others to be able to pronounce. I love this if you have other names as well. This is great if you've had to go through a name change, or if you have a different DBA for whatever reason, you can go ahead and put that in here. I've seen this where we had our pages named after our team accounts, but in our other names, we've actually added the primary or the team leader in there, and the other names does come in handy. And if you are going to add a favorite quote in here, I highly recommend a nice Warren Buffett quote about the state of housing or the state of being a realtor. It's a great place to add a nice Warren Buffett quote here. And last but certainly not least, let's talk about life events. Again, most of the time we're using this for personal purposes. But you do have the ability to put in a started a new job, or got my associate broker, for example. We're usually not doing things like relationships, but you can certainly do something like education if you finish a designation. I do love family if you've had a family event. Here's that milestones and achievements. For those of you who are coming up with award season, you can certainly put a life event of being able to get that chairman's circle or chairman's club award. You can put that in here. You can also create your own. Don't forget, life events aren't for your everyday posts. They're for really kind of achievements and major milestones. But if you do have something where you want to go ahead and create your own, maybe you've been interviewed by the news, or you had, sold your first $1 million home, whatever it happens to be, you can always create your own life event as well. Those are kind of fun to do. They also have a tremendous amount of reach. So as we're coming into award season, it might be a good opportunity just to try that milestone and achievement one for the very first time. Once you've made all those changes, again, you're going to go ahead and save on each and every one of these sections. Your page will be built out probably better than the majority of agents out there who have a Facebook business page. A lot of people haven't taken the time to edit a lot of this about and contact section, adding their service areas, making sure that you have all of your connections made under work and education, and making sure that you have all your accesses correct and things like that. This is really how we want to make sure that we have the ability for people to contact us, but also be able to have the amount of reach that we need for the year. Did anybody have any questions about this about section before we end this Facebook question or class today? Any additional questions? All right. Well, I follow a lot of different Facebook accounts online. Hopefully I'll see lots and lots of edits over the next couple of days as you guys go through and make sure that you build out your business pages to be as robust as possible. If you need any help with this at all, do let us know at websupport@rwtown.com. We'll be happy to help you or even review anything that we've talked about today. Thank you again for coming.